Hey guys, this is Julian and I'm here with my business partner Nick Notas today and we're going to do a react. What is it about, Nick?
The video is titled Do This When You Approach a Girl by Teaching Men's Fashion. And we're going to give you our thoughts as dating coaches right now.
All right, you watched one of my videos. You were able to grow your huevos and got the courage to do your walk over there and boom. Now you don't know how to act. Now you're here. You're like, hey, my name's Jose. And now you don't know what to say. So today, boys, I'm going to help you out in this latter part. I'm going to help you out in what to do and how to act once you have approached the girl. Let's hop into this. 1, bring her a notch down. Like, literally, bring her down. And not to her face, but in your mind. See, I'm not telling you to verbally tell her, yo, you're ugly, you're not all that. No. I want you to do that in your head.
I would hope so.
It's a psychological effect. See, what happens is most guys will approach a girl, especially if she's pretty, and in your head, you're thinking, this girl is a goddess. This girl is perfect. I would do anything for this girl. Automatically, the dynamic has switched. You are now a fan, and this girl is a celebrity. This girl is on a pedestal, and you will approach her in that energy.
I don't disagree 100%. I really think that a lot of also our guys probably think that in a way. Like she's a goddess. She is,
Totally.
oh my God, she is so beautiful. If I ended up with her, like my life would be complete and all that stuff.
Yeah, you paint an image of who that person is in your head just because of the way that they look. We attribute value to beauty automatically. So in your head, because she's beautiful, you must have to win her over, right? She must be something amazing to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really dangerous. Also, if you have all these mental images of her already and you picture the two of you together walking down the street holding hands, whatever, like cuddling in bed and stuff, that is how you fall in love prematurely with someone. So I really think that is dangerous.
I want you to bring her down a notch. I want you, when you approach her, you think, man, I am the prize. This girl would be lucky to have me. All right, let me go see what she wants. Yeah, it's a little bit vain. It's a little bit cocky. You're not going to actually say that, but you're going to think that to hopefully balance the scales. And now you're seeing each other equally. Now you can relax. This girl's not that perfect.
So I think that's pretty fucked up. Like, trying to bring her down with the goal of being equal in the end. Like, I don't think that can work.
No, I mean, well, inevitably, right, there's always a little bit of inequality there because, like, she's going to choose you. You're not choosing her at the end of the day, right? Like, most of the time, The woman in that situation is the one to say, do I want this to continue or not? So I get where he's coming from, that you want to take her off a pedestal so you're not treating her like a goddess that you don't know. I just think there's probably better ways to go about it for me than just putting her down in your head. I'd much rather tell somebody to, like, just focus on a goal of, like, cool, what's one thing I can find out about this person? Or some people, they can use an avatar of somebody else that they normally would talk to, like a friend, and try to mimic the way that they'd talk to them. So you're still getting the end result of talking to this person as a human instead of like a goddess that you're trying to get something from. But I don't know if, like, long term, do you think long term it's a solution to tell yourself, like, this woman's ugly, this woman's not good enough?
The problem is that some of that advice is working in practice in, like it can get you better results with women than you're currently getting, but it's not healthy in any way. Like, that's why I wanted to stop and talk about this stuff there, because his notion of I'm gonna put her down in my head so then eventually we can be equal. I think, if you lack respect for the other person first, and then your goal is that eventually you're going to be equal and respect each other and stuff, like, that is erroneous thinking in my mind. Like, if you don't respect her going in, how are you going to respect her later? And I think that's the same problem with, making her uglier in her mind, looking at all her shortcomings and stuff. Like, if you look at that stuff and you put her down in your mind, then you lack respect for her in a way, I feel. And so I think it's pretty hard to have a partner that you are fully content with eventually and treat like, an equal human being.
And imagine every time you walk up to a beautiful woman, you have to make her less or see all her flaws. When I think the reason why it's obvious that it can't work is, like, do we do that with anybody else? Even high class people we do. You don't walk up to a high class man and say, like, oh my God, he's not that cool. He's ugly. He's kind of a little, he's got some pimples on his face right here. It's kind of also like the advice of where people said, like, imagine a girl's pooping when talking to her. I don't know. That shit never worked for me, man.
And also, I like that you brought up men there, because I think if we take the example, let's say you start a job and you work for someone that you really respect, and you look up to them and you think this guy has it all figured out, awesome. Like, I mean, no guy in that situation would ever think purposely like, oh, my boss is an asshole. My boss did this wrong. Like all these things just so you don't like respect him so much, just so you aren't as nervous around him or whatever. Like that would be ludicrous. But with women, for some reason, they think that's good advice.
Yeah, completely. You wouldn't have people that you admire if you consistently did that. If you want to do this as a stepping stone to take women forcibly off a pedestal, fine. I think solutions of like focusing on being curious about the other person, intentionally removing the outcome and saying, hey, this time I'm going to go talk to this person and not even worry about a number. Just try to be present, express myself, be in the moment and listen, and focus on things that you can control to feel strong yourself. Right? Or to even say, I'm going to go talk to 2 new people about something that matters to me. All of those will keep you present and grounded without, resorting to something that I think is just not a long-term solution. It doesn't make you because what you're doing in that moment is you're only pulling her down, but you're not elevating yourself, right? You're not making yourself feel confident or like a strong person. And so it's like half the equation for me.
Yeah, totally. I have a part of a poem that I really love goes like, if you put others down, you don't believe in your own greatness. And I really think awesome. That is 100% true.
Number 2, dress your best. This is one of the best ways to accomplish the previous tip. See, if you're wearing your best garments, it's going to be the best way to uplift your confidence. So now you're thinking, man, I look good. I look good. This girl's lucky I'm even going to talk to her. Now you're feeling that energy as well because you're wearing something that's your favorite fit. You know that first day of school fit that you planned it out the day before. It's perfectly color coordinated. Everything's on point. When you wear it that first day, you feel like the man. I want that energy every day. This is why
so everything it takes to take this guy down a notch is a stain on his shirt.
Yeah, if his shirt has a thread that he doesn't realize is missing.
Yeah. If you ever meet this guy in a bar and you think he's an asshole, just pour some red wine over his shirt and all his confidence is gone in a second.
But see, that doubles down, continuing to think about it this way, I think puts you in such the wrong headspace of, she's not good enough for me. She's not good enough for me. I think that is the opposite of building real confidence, because what you're doing is not admitting reality, right? The only way that you feel secure is by saying this person could never be good enough for me. It's a superiority complex, right? And we know that superiority complexes are just another form of insecurity.
Yeah, and I would argue even that the guy has a huge inferiority complex, because putting the other person down already is a mature person with a healthy self-esteem would say I'd rather work on myself and I grow to get to their level. And then also next point he makes is you have to look flawless, your style has to be on point, whatever. If it's not, then he's insecure. If it's not, then he feels like he doesn't belong, that he doesn't deserve that woman, and so on. I would always argue, and I know you do too, Nick, is
sure.
You have to make sure that you believe in your own greatness and you are confident no matter what. And you can't get completely insecure just because there's one element wrong with your exterior. There's always something wrong. There's always something that's gonna happen, that's gonna come up, and that is not true confidence.
And it's a losing battle, like you said, right? If you replace that with clothes and you base your value on your money or your prestigious job, and then you lose that, that's where people suddenly feel like they lost their identity, right? They can be a great person, they think they've got a great life, but they put their entire self-worth on this one idea, and when that's gone, they feel fucked. In general, I think we both agree, having good fashion is awesome, but if you've never had a moment where you can talk to beautiful women where you're not trying to be perfect, where you're not trying to say everything perfect, look perfect, carry yourself without flaws, then I think you can never really feel relaxed about them, because the second you're worried about that happening, it all crumbles.
Yeah, exactly. That is a really good point, man. I think that if you are that person who really tries to have their perfect exterior, their perfect fashion style and everything together, then you are also not that relaxed when you are looking really good. Because you always observe yourself and wonder is my shirt wrinkly? Did something happen? You always worry. You always worry constantly.
That is being in a personal prison. If you are constantly in social situations and worried about how you are being observed, you're always going to be miserable.
I wonder sometimes with his audience, for example, like there must be guys who aren't as good looking as he is. Like,
Definitely.
do you think that they hold a grudge against him eventually? If like, I mean, obviously he's basing the entire strategy that he's telling his followers is based on looks, and he's obviously looking pretty good, and he, you know, is a designer and he wears great fashion and stuff. Like, obviously what he's doing is working for him, but it's not gonna work for the people who follow him and listen to his advice.
It's good advice, but like, I don't know. Look at the people that run the world. Look at like all our scientists, our engineers or whatever. Like, you know, I would never say that they're not great people or charismatic or confident or interesting. Like if they're a little chubby because they work 12 hours in a lab saving our life or something, you know?
Yeah, totally. It seems to me like there's a big difference between people who give dating advice and actually work with people, and, you know, like our coaches or therapists or whoever, and like actually see their advice implemented in real life and see the feedback of that. Did it work for them? How did they change over a period of time, and so on? And then there are a lot of people who just give the advice and never have that feedback back, right? Like they just give the advice and they never see what happens with it. And they just think, oh yeah, that's good advice, that worked for me, that sounds good, and so on. That got a lot of views, a lot of likes, a lot of shares. But they never see if it actually works. And I think that is a huge problem that we have nowadays.
It's probably also the same phenomenon you said. Is like, look at him. Like, obviously, he might have been like a nerd back in the day and became this dude. But at this point, just because of his looks, he gets attention. So it validates his own beliefs, right? I just dressed well and I talk really loud and I put women down in my head and like they like me. Why doesn't it work for you?
Exactly. And then the answer always is for them, you didn't do enough of what worked for me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not you're a different human being. Maybe something else works for you than it does for me. It's like, no, you have to work out more. No, you have to invest more in designer clothing.
Totally.
So I'm curious, guys, do you think that a guy can really become super attractive to women and become successful at approaching by just changing his style and his fashion?
I don't know. Maybe we got it wrong. Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
Number 3, ask her a question. See, once she's opened up or is more receptive to you, she is more likely to like you because now she's helping you. If not, when you came up to her and asked her a question, she would have just blown you away. And now you know what? That girl stuck up. It's not even worth it. You can ask, where's the nearest Starbucks? Or are there any good book recommendations? Or, how many guys have hit on you with free drinks tonight? She's going to say, no. She'll say something, and then you'll be like, well, this one will be your last. Boom, goddamn, now I'm giving you pickup lines at this point. The point is, using questions is a great way to get her to open up. She gives you a response. Once she does, now you know she's receptive to you engaging with her.
You know what my problem is with women who fall for these tactics? Like, if a woman falls for a line like, this drink is gonna be your last one tonight, then like, I lose interest in them because I can't respect a person who falls for someone like that, for something like that.
Totally. Or who can see that this guy's like really trying hard and performing. And it's funny you say that because my first thought when he said like, and if you ask her a question like this that's scripted in my head and that I probably don't actually care about, and she's not interested, then she's not good enough for you. And it's like, or she was just like, yeah, this guy feels a little stiff and fake and I don't really feel like a genuine, warmth here. I think the biggest takeaway is like he's saying ask a question. And in theory, again, he has the right idea. Ask a question to get somebody to open up and actually learn about them so you can converse. I think the problem is if you're asking, again, a bullshit question, then you are consistently performing and telling yourself, I need to say something just fake to be good enough, instead of actually just asking something you'd want to know.
Experience, a lot of guys who do that and a lot of guys who perform struggle to actually fall in love with people. Like, I know so many guys who never, like they have crushes maybe sometimes, but it's never like actual healthy, deep love, It's never something where two people want to connect with each other. Two people can't wait to hang out with each other again, outside of sexual activities. And I just think so much of life is lost if you don't have that experience. Like, it's such a beautiful thing if you talk to someone and you just know that other person is hanging by your every word and just can't get enough of what you're saying and is so interested and so immersed in what you're saying, right? And you feel the same way with the other person. That reciprocity and that mirroring of interest from one another, I think, is the sexiest thing that there is. And it's just so sad that so many people lose out on that by always thinking tactically.
When you're giving these thin questions, you might get somebody's attention, right? You might get a girl to talk to you for a little bit, but you'll never get to that next stage. Like you said, I mean, you've had it, I've had it, where you meet somebody and in the first 30 minutes or an hour, you're like, whoa, it's riffing. We feel like we already have a vibe. Like, this is real. And like, I would much rather fail 9 approaches and not do the BS thing to get one approach where it's like that than to do 10 of like, oh, where's the nearest Starbucks? And then it's just some chit chat. And then the person doesn't really care and they give you a vague number and you guys are like avoiding each other for a while.
4, cut down the
See what else
I
is
want you to
good.
get straight to the point. This reduces the chances of you looking like a fool or stuttering or making the situation awkward, and also respects her time. She's probably in a hurry. She has her own things to do. So when you start talking to her, she'll think in her head, yo, why is this dude talking to me? When is he gonna leave? And when she's in that mentality, she's more likely to reject you. But if you get to the point as quick as possible, now she'll see, yo, you respect my time, and your chances of getting numbers will increase.
Do you agree?
I mean, I would say it completely depends where you talk to someone. Like, I don't think if you meet a woman in a club or in a bar that she's in a rush to go somewhere. You have to hurry.
Absolutely.
It's just another stressor.
Which we see all the time in our guys, right? That's the biggest thing is like, I don't want to bother her. I don't want to make her feel trapped there. I think great content, great conversation is as long as it's or short as it needs to be. So obviously if a woman's like showing you like, hey, I got to go and it's a little stiff and dry, then great. Hey, listen, you want to get together, fine. But if somebody's like pumped to talk to you and like sitting and puts her phone away and like actually engages, the worst thing you could do is cut that short before a strong enough connection materializes that when you get a number, it's going to be an easy yes for her to meet up. I think you would sabotage a lot of your chances if you do that, right?
Totally. I recently watched a video, I think it was titled the Brad Pitt's formula or the Brad Pitt technique or something.
Okay.
And it was along the lines of, okay, she says she doesn't have time to go on a date with you, let's say. But if Brad Pitt asked her the same question, if Brad Pitt asked her out, would she give him the same answer? Probably not. And like, I think everyone can answer that question for themselves. Like, if you met the woman of your dreams, do you ever think that you wouldn't meet her or that you wouldn't go out with her, wouldn't talk to her because you don't have the time for it?
Hell no. If the value is there to somebody, most people will give up time in their life to connect with a great friend, a great business opportunity, a great romantic opportunity, no questions asked. No one's like, oh my God, I just met this super awesome dude who's a multimillionaire and could change my entire life, but I was planning on getting my latte a little sooner, so bye. Like, doesn't work.
Yeah, right. Totally. When someone tells you I don't have time, it basically just means you're not that far up on my list of priorities.
Absolutely. Unless they genuinely have like a crazy meeting. But outside of that, yeah, if they're just like, oh yeah, I got to get going, then
and then
so
he
funny.
argues in that Brad Pitt video that maybe they don't have time, but then they will tell you, hey, but we can meet later or we can meet another time, right? They will
That's
always
so
try
true.
to set it up.
Yeah, whenever guys are like, I proposed an idea and then she was like, I'm just not free in the next few days. And then she said nothing. Like sometimes people are poor communicators, but a lot of times it's like, if you hang out with me on some game show for an hour, I will give you $1 million cash. Everyone will find the time.
I bet, yeah. It's funny you bring up that example because I always bring that when people are late. I'm always like, you aren't late because it was stressful. You're late because it wasn't that high of a priority for you. Like, if you only had a time to get to the lottery to cash in your win, then you would never be late for that. I guarantee you.
You wouldn't even sleep. You'd be at the lottery place before it even opens, disheveled, just with the ticket in hand.
Ready there with the duffel bags open already.
5, never come on too strong. Most guys try to overcompensate for their lack of confidence and they come across as arrogant or aggressive. See, you don't need to come on that strong. Instead, when you're talking to the girl, slow down your movements. Slow down your speech. I don't want you to move too fast. I don't want you to be too jittery. This makes her shield up or tense up because she doesn't know you. Remember, you are a stranger. So you want to make her feel at ease, which means relax. Slow down your speech. You'll avoid stumbling or stuttering over your words, and you're going to look super confident controlling the flow of the conversation.
I like that tip. The only issue I have with it is that if you have a lot of energy that's, somewhere in your body and isn't released, then it's just super, super hard to control that. We have so many micro movements that we do that kind of show nervousness or that show that, something is moving within us. And we have this unused energy that's there. And so I've seen a lot of public speaking trainers give the advice that, for example, you touch your fingers like this when you do a speech. So you don't do anything weird with your fingers, because that energy that you have within you is going to be released somewhere, whether you notice it or not. So if you intentionally slow down, then you're going to speed up in another place where you just don't notice it. And maybe you tap your feet real quick, or you go from one leg to another, or you wiggle your head weirdly or something. So you always have to make sure that you don't just force yourself to slow down, but that you actually calm down within you. That it's not just a physical thing. And I know that the physical can influence the mental and vice versa, but you always want to make sure that you cover both bases, that you calm down on the inside and on the outside.
Yeah, I agree, because if you're like still shitting your pants on the inside and you're just like trying to be tight, like then like I see dudes just like they move really slow, but they're like stones, right? Their facial animations are frozen and they're just chilling here like this. I think most guys could practice learning first how to slow down, speak more calmly, work on their internal state, work on the physiological, their breath. But then I think there comes a point where that once you have control over that, it's nice to be able to go through the range at times, right? Great orators, great presenters, they're not always slow. There's a time, and maybe this could tie into where you release your energy. There's a time where you want to get fired up, right? Like she tells you something awesome that you both love unexpectedly. It's so much more impactful after you've been relaxed to be like, whoa, I can't believe you're into that too. Let's talk about it. And then that energy is infectious instead of being like, wow, that's cool. I enjoy that as well.
And number 6, leave on a high note. This is the strongest thing you can do. Remember how I say cut down the chit chat? Well, the point of that is I don't want you to bore her. I don't want her to get to a point and think, man, when is this guy going to stop talking? Instead, you want to start talking to her. You ask her the question, she gives it back, you get right to the point, and then after that you can be like, yo, oh, you know what? I have to run. I have to catch an appointment or go into a meeting or do this and that. And now you look busy as well, and you'll say, yo, I'll catch up with you later. And now you've respected her time and you've ended on a high note. So now she's thinking, yo, that guy was kind of attractive. He was super confident, or he was funny. All she'll think about is that positive high note because you didn't stumble or screw up along the way. And that's basically it for this week's video, guys. You follow those 6 steps when you approach a girl and your chances of success will jack up. That's it for your boy. See you next time.
What do you think about that last point?
I think it's another thing to worry about. Like, I agree that if conversation is getting stale and it's winding down and you guys are kind of flubbing, probably end it instead of dragging it through the muck. But if you're constantly worried, like, I got to end it at a high point, I got to say just the bare minimum and then leave, you're never leaving room for more deep or meaningful connection. It doesn't even have to be deep, serious, just like more real connection. The other issue I have with that is it kind of makes women out to be a little stupid. Like, I love when guys are like, all it takes is to act really cool, look suave, and say a couple things, and then you leave on a high note, and that's like where a woman's like, oh my God, that was like amazing, and like, that's all it takes. As if they can't recognize like just the act of being aloof and cool is the only thing that would excite them. When again, a real conversation, a real connection would often do that even more. It goes back to what you said, is I think this only works for really attractive dudes a lot of times. Like, if you just approach girls for 30 seconds, you go for their number, you're like, hey, what's up? I want to talk to you. Give me your number. Like, if you're naturally handsome and attractive and tall, I think it's going to work. If not, even if you're working on the rest of those stuff, you often have to give a little bit more of your personality for that to work out as consistently.
Exactly. I can just say from personal experience, like during my pickup years, I also thought along those lines and I tried to leave on a high note and stuff. And so I remember once I was, close to a creek and stuff, and I was sitting there in a blanket with a girl and we were drinking wine, and it was a really nice evening, nice conversation, everything. I thought, I gotta leave at the high point, I gotta leave. and so I did eventually, and she was completely surprised that it was out of nowhere, right? And I gotta go, I somewhere to be. Bye bye. And like she was so pissed. Like she never wanted to see me again after that. And it was totally clear. And like in retrospect, she was 100% right. Like I was the fucking weirdo in that situation, and I didn't deserve another date with her. Like
she's like telling you Christmas about her family, and then Julian's like, all right, bye. Now, if you want to learn how to approach women the right way and actually build real confidence, check out my video here where I talk about my experiences approaching thousands of women.
Thank you guys so much for watching. See you around.